Coming up next on UK Student News Network, live at 4. A deadly shooting in a Chicago hospital. 4 are dead, including the shooter. Hear the latest from the Chicago Police Department coming up.
Lexington's God's Pantry is working to help Kentucky families celebrate Thanksgiving. See how you can donate to the cause.
And Fayette County Superintendent receives a statewide award. He'll now move on to the national level.
And in sports, the Wildcats have a busy Thanksgiving week coming up. The basketball team plays tomorrow afternoon, and the football team goes on the road this weekend in a rivalry match against the Cardinals. I'll have that and more with sports. UK Student News Network live at 4 starts now.
Hello, I'm Addie Miners.
And I'm Quinn Brown. Thank you for joining us.
We'll begin today with tragic news out of Chicago. 4 people are dead following yesterday's hospital shooting. Police say it all started with an altercation in the parking lot that escalated into much more. Reporter Andy Rose has the story.
The subject fired.
The shooter has been identified as 32-year-old Juan Lopez. It has been released that one of the victims was the shooter's ex-fiancée. The woman was an employee of the hospital.
President Trump's efforts to prevent immigrants from seeking asylum in the United States has been barred. A federal judge ruled the United States immigration laws allow immigrants to seek asylum even if they enter the country between official ports of entry. Homeland Security and the Justice Department said it is in the president's legal rights to restrict asylum to immigrants. The future of Kentucky's last remaining abortion clinic may be decided today. The Louisville judge is expected to hand down his final decision later this afternoon. The 5-day trial ended yesterday. Arguments were heard over the common second trimester procedure to end pregnancies.
It has been challenged in courts, and now it may be challenged by the Trump administration. We're talking about how people identify their gender. And we are reminded today about the struggle for recognition from those in the transgender community. Naila Spencer reports on a day of remembrance of those who have died as results of hate crimes against transgender people.
We're dying, and that's what we're out here remembering tonight, is that people have died because of people's transphobic thoughts, and where they think it's okay to put somebody down or belittle them or make them inhuman.
The University of Kentucky and Transylvania University came together for a Trans Remembrance Vigil. This vigil is held each year to honor the memory of those who've lost their lives to anti-transgender violence. The Assistant Director of the UK Office of LGBTQ Resource Center says that it is important to have this vigil to raise awareness and remember the lives lost.
It's important to keep having this because a lot of times these individuals are either misnamed or misidentified, or the reasons for their death aren't brought about, and they're also a lot of times trans individuals, especially transgender women of color, can be brushed aside by society. So this is a moment to remember, renew their names, their breath, and all of their energies.
Those who attended the vigil were given names of those who lost their lives to violence and read them aloud.
Zachariah Fry, age 28.
Felicia Mitchell, age 45.
Shantae Tucker, age 20.
Tuesday Metals says that the best way to raise awareness and to advocate for the trans community is to push for change in your local government.
Lots of things we can do locally. Whereas we can't do much on the federal level, let's do things right here locally. Right there on your campus, you can promote LGBTQ issues. So all politics are local, so we need to remember that and start a grassroots movement.
The Human Rights Campaign reports that at least 22 transgender people have been killed in the U.S. so far this year. More than 80% are women of color, and more than half of them have been in the South.
God's Pantry Food Bank is expanding its share of Thanksgiving distribution program beyond Fayette County this year. Food from this warehouse will serve 4,000 Fayette County families, but the program will also provide 750 additional boxes to families in nearby counties this Thanksgiving. Boxes will include everything you need to make Thanksgiving meal, including the turkey, stuffing, corn, and more. But according to God's Food Pantry, Misty Sims, donations do more than put food on the table. They also let families celebrate in peace.
So you're not having to think about what you're missing during the holidays, and you can have a good time with your family and maybe a day not worry about how you're putting food on the table.
God's Pantry's food bank buys all the food for this program and will continue to accept donations. $40 is what it takes to sponsor a family. Distributions in Fayette County will continue to take place at Southland Richmond Road campus until 6 p.m. tonight. And for some people, the challenge isn't where they find the meal, but how they get home for Thanksgiving dinner. Thousands of students are dealing with that right now.
And reporter Brandon Gent reports they too are getting some needed assistance.
When you think about busing, back to you, Quinn and Addie.
Thanks, Brent.
And some exciting news for Fayette County Superintendent. Manny Koch has been named Kentucky Superintendent of the Year. He was chosen based on creativity in meeting students' needs, communication, professionalism, and community involvement. Koch will now be in the running for National Superintendent of the Year. That award will be announced in February.
Good news for people paying for a Thanksgiving feast.
And good news for Black Friday lovers. Brett Albers has the report when we return. Welcome back.
The holiday season is approaching. Brett Alper has the latest consumer trends as we get closer to Thanksgiving and Black Friday. Brett?
Thanks, Quinn. Here's something to be thankful for this year. Thanksgiving dinner will be a little cheaper. The American Farm Bureau Federation's annual survey tracks the average cost of feeding 10 people on Thanksgiving. They say the average cost will be just under $49 this year. That's down 22 cents from last year. But while you're expected to spend less for Thanksgiving, you may be spending more on Black Friday. David Daniel reports.
Watch, I'm David Daniel.
Here in Lexington, UK Athletics will have Black Friday sales deals of their own. Tickets for men's basketball, women's basketball, volleyball, and gymnastics will be sold at discounted prices. Sales will take place inside Fayette Mall beginning at 6 a.m. Friday morning. Facebook is under fire again today, this time for their involvement in human trafficking. A man in South Sudan used the site to auction off his own daughter as a child bride. He reportedly received 500 cows, 3 cars, and $10,000 in exchange for the 16-year-old girl. Bidding began on Facebook on October 25th, and Facebook did not remove the post until November 9th, after the girl had already been married. And trouble in the stock market today. Tech, retail, and oil markets are dropping. This comes after the Trump administration proposed a regulation that could limit exports on high-tech products from China. President Trump and the General Secretary Xi Jinping are expected to meet next month. And that is your look at your consumer news. Reporting live from the studio, I'm Brett Alper. Quinn and Addie, back to you.
Thank you, Brett. Quinn Brown, what's coming up next in sports?
Well, the Wildcats have a lot of games coming up this week, and including the rivalry match against the Cardinals on Saturday. So we'll hear from the team on their preparation this week as they take on their arch rivals.
So we've got a huge, big week ahead in sports. Quinn, we've got Kentucky football, soccer, volleyball, and basketball.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge week, Addie, and so let's start with football.
Thanks, Quinn. So we're tracking some potential rain coming in later this week. Find out what your Saturday is going to look like next. So, Ashley, how's it looking outside?
Let's take a look. 54 and a low of 40 degrees.
So it's looking like we're going to have a pretty dry Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it'll be nice for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ashley. Coming up, a presidential tradition is back for another year. President Trump pardoned this year's turkey, but was it peas or carrots? Find out when we come back. Millions of turkeys will be eaten this Thanksgiving, but not these two. Their names are peas and carrots, and they were the turkeys President Trump chose to save this Thanksgiving. The birds made the press conference debut after being pardoned this morning. The lucky birds will not only get the chance to live out their lives, but also be cared for by the students and veterinarians at Virginia Tech's Animal and Poultry Sciences Department. You can find peas and carrots at the university's Gobbler Rest exhibit. They will join Drumstick, Wishbone, Tater, and Tot, who were turkeys previously pardoned by Trump and Obama.
Thank you very much.
Well, those turkeys are pretty lucky.
I know, because turkey is one of my favorite parts of Thanksgiving, so more turkey the merrier, I guess. All right, well, that's all we have today for the UK Student Network. I'm Addie Miners.
And I'm Quinn Brown. Have a happy Thanksgiving.